Shalom everybody, hope you're doing well. Getting ready for Shabbat, Parshiot, Tazria and Metzora. We have two Parshiot together, two Torah portions together this week, Tazria and Metzora. And I want to focus on the main thing that these two Torah portions focus on, and that's this collection of different skin ailments that the Torah talks about, and their purification and their rectification, their healing. And the Torah enumerates a few different kinds of these skin afflictions, both describing their physical properties, their physical appearance, and also the way that they get dealt with through the Kohanim, those who serve in the Beit HaMikdash, the holy temple that once upon a time stood in Jerusalem. Now, we can learn the Torah, we can approach the Torah as a collection of stories and laws, words that make sentences, but we're instructed by those who understand the Torah on deeper levels that the Torah is meant to be understood on deeper levels, that it exists simultaneously on different levels. And when we approach the Torah and we learn its words, it's not just as it appears to be in black and white, literally, that there are hints and there are secrets, there are teachings that are hidden within the words and the verses of the Torah. And when we're talking about these skin ailments, it's not just something physical that someone today maybe would go to a dermatologist for. Oh, I got something in my skin, I don't know what it's about, can you please give me a cream to heal it, and it's done, and end of story, I'm moving on with my life. These skin ailments, and ailments is not such a good word to use, are reflective, the Torah is instructing us, right, are reflective of a deeper inner spiritual reality. And the reason these things come is to show the person that something's off, something is out of balance on the inside, and it's manifesting on the outside to show you, so that you'll take the steps, that you go to the Kohen, and you go through a process of purification, of introspection, of tikkun, fixing, of tshuva, returning to a place of balance. And this idea that everything on the outside is really reflective of something on the inside. And this idea that just like in the Torah, how there are these deeper levels that are beneath the surface, so too in the world. And we talked about this many, many times. That the world around us, we look, we see the trees, we see the grass, we see the people, we see the buildings, we see all the different things. And yes, that does exist. It exists on a physical level. But there's also other realities. There are realities that are connecting, telling us stories that are talking to us. Many great rabbis have taught us that the world, that God is talking to us through the physical world all the time, if we can only hear. Right? All the time, through experiences, through ways things match up or don't. And that while there's a story unfolding all the time around us, there's something also being told to us. So I just want to link this idea to what's going on in the Jewish calendar right now, the world of the Jewish people. We just had Pesach, the ultimate redemption, the ultimate model of redemption, leaving Mitzrayim, leaving our own inner places of constriction and exile and moving towards a place of freedom. And then boom, right away we go into this place of Sfirat Omer. Counting of the Omer, 49 days going up to Shavuot, which is really the manifestation of that leaving, the reason why we left in the first place. Not just leaving, and we'll talk about this hopefully another time, but not just leaving, so okay, I don't have a slave master anymore, but really leaving for a much higher purpose. And in this time period, we're working on ourselves in order to make that transition from Pesach to Shavuot. But also in our modern day times, we have newly born holidays. Just a couple of days ago, we had Yom Hashoa, Holocaust Remembrance Day here in Israel. And it's a powerful time. And I was just thinking, connected to this Torah portion, this idea of the what's happening in the world being reflective of an inner reality at the same time. And I was thinking of the teaching that, as we go closer to Shavuot, we learn that moment at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai, when the Jewish people received the Torah, that all the generations, every single Jew that would ever exist was standing there. This was a formative moment. This was a birthing moment for the people of Israel. And I was thinking that the same, I think, lahavdil could be said about the Holocaust. That would happen in a specific time period, in a specific place, we on some deeper level, we were all there. We all experienced that. It affected us all, and all Jews, wherever they live, Ashkenaz, Sephardi, whatever it is, we carry that memory, that pain, that blemish, relating it back to our Torah portion, with us until today. And the question is, how do we rectify it? How do we fix it? How do we come to a place of healing? There's this big question that we all have. Why did the Holocaust happen? Why did suffering happen? I'm not going to try or even dare to attempt to give an answer to that question, but just in the framework of what we're talking about in this week's Torah portion, that everything that does happen in this world is telling us something, is happening for a reason, is a reflection of something happening on a deeper level. And again, I'm not going to a place of giving an explanation or a reason for over 6 million Jews and tens of millions of people being killed and murdered. On some level, it's beyond our understanding, very much so. But just to be in a place of trying to understand, of wanting to understand, of believing to know, and knowing to believe that somehow this all fits together, somehow this all makes sense, and that like we stood at Har Sinai, like we stood at Mount Sinai, we stood at Auschwitz. It's a part of our story now. It's within each one of us, and where we take it, how we take it, what we do with it is up to us. And in a few days, we'll be at another newly born holiday in our relatively modern times, Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. And again, hopefully, I hope to talk about that next week. But the Israeli Memorial Day for its fallen soldiers, and then right away into Independence Day. And just this time of transition, this time of movement, just like we're going from Pesach to Shavuot, and just like within Pesach itself, there was this movement from Mitzrayim, of slavery, of oppression, to freedom. So we're going from the Holocaust Remembrance Day to Yom HaAtzmaut within the span of a week. Right? It didn't happen that quickly on the ground back in the 1930s and 40s, but this idea that it's in our consciousness within this week, that we stood in silence together as a nation on Yom Hashoa. We're going to be standing together in silence as a nation on Yom HaZikaron, and then celebrating our independence and our freedom, and the fact that we're back in our land, running the show for ourselves. It's very powerful concepts. And tying it back to our Torah portion, this idea of Metzora, I'll just end with this thought that it says something very, very powerful. That it says, if someone has this affliction called Metzora, so they have go through this whole process. It's like one of the it's the most intense affliction a person can have, because it's again reflective of a very, very deep spiritual brokenness. And if it appears, you have to go through again all these purifications. But then it says something very strange, seemingly strange. It says, if it appears on the part of on any part of the body, for the most part, okay. So you have to go through this process of ritual purification. But if it takes over the entire body, if it spreads head to toe everywhere, it's automatically pure. There's no purification necessary because it is already pure. And I can't help but relate it to Yom HaShoah and where we're standing in the Jewish calendar right now, that I think we can say on a national level, on the level of the Jewish people, we're all one soul expressed in different bodies, that the Holocaust was the lowest, was the absolute brokenness for the Jewish people. It covered our entire body, so to speak, right? All the Jewish people, all the Jewish nation. And from there, we move forward. And from there, we're it's hard to say on some level, but we're purified already. And we can move forward. And yes, still dealing with the pain and the memory. But again, going back to what I said before, what are we going to do with it? Where are we going to take it? And the fact that we took it so quickly, and of course there was a whole process and story decades even before the Holocaust, movement of the Jewish people back to our land, we experienced the ultimate freedom, national redemption. And though it's not absolute and it's not finished, we're still in process, which hopefully, God willing, we'll talk about next week. It's just very powerful to see the two in close proximity to one another. So many things, thoughts and ideas that are on some level too hard to even put words to and to explain, but just want to share a few things with you all. As we go into the Shabbat, as we do for all Shabbat, just coming to a place of openness and our eyes opening wide and seeing the world in a different kind of way and seeing how things piece together in our own personal lives, in the lives of our people, and the story of the entire world. And to know that what happens to ourselves, what happens to our people, what happens to the world is all kind of a voice trying to guide us further in our path towards a better future. Bezrat Hashem. So sending much love and blessing from the land of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.